Welcome, gents. The lion doesn't need to announce it's a lion, it just moves differently. Not every man who walks quietly is lost. Some are simply building something bigger than what the world around them can understand right now. If you're a Sigma male, chances are you've felt it. That constant pull to do more, be more, create more. You don't quite fit in, not because there's something wrong with you, but because you're designed for a path most people don't even see. People may mistake your silence for weakness, your independence for arrogance, or your resistance to authority as rebellion. But here's the truth. You're not wired to follow the usual path. You're wired to build your own. You think deeply, move intentionally, and trust your gut even when it goes against the crowd. That's not confusion. That's clarity most people haven't earned. This isn't about being better than others. It's about recognizing that you're built differently and learning to own it. The signs are there. You're not behind. You're just not for everyone. And that in itself is proof that you're meant for something more. This man thinks deeper, moves quieter, and lives with a sense of direction that doesn't always make sense to the world around him. These are the Sigma males, often overlooked, often misunderstood, but rarely forgotten. And if you're one of them, you probably already feel that tension, like you were built for something more, even if no one else sees it yet. Maybe you've always felt like you're watching the world from the outside in. Not lost, but measuring, waiting, sharpening. This video is for you. It's not here to hype you up with empty talk. It's here to give you the signs, real honest ones, that you're not crazy for feeling like you're meant for more, because you are. And that more doesn't come from fitting in. It comes from finally owning who you are, fully. So if you've ever felt like your path is different but right, even if no one else understands it, watch till the end. These 11 signs aren't just traits, they're proof. Let's get into it, gents. Number 1, he's loyal to purpose, not people-pleasing, and that alone sets him apart in a world addicted to approval. See, most people are raised to believe that being liked is the highest achievement. Smile more, say yes, avoid conflict, don't rock the boat. But the Sigma male doesn't play that game. He doesn't live to be liked. He lives to be real. And that means sometimes people won't understand him. Sometimes they'll call him cold, stubborn, or difficult. But he's not here to entertain. He's here to build, to create, to change things. He can care deeply for others. In fact, when he connects, it's real and rare. But that connection will never come at the cost of his calling. He won't trade his values for validation. He won't water himself down to make others comfortable. If pleasing you means betraying himself, he'll choose self-respect every single time. This isn't about arrogance, it's about alignment. He understands that trying to please everyone is the fastest way to lose yourself, and he's not willing to disappear just to keep the peace. If you expect him to follow blindly, he won't. If you expect him to stay quiet when something's wrong, good luck. He's not built for blind obedience, he's built for impact. And impact takes courage, not charm, truth, not flattery, focus, not approval. When a Sigma male enters the room, things shift. Not because he demands attention, but because he carries clarity. He knows who he is, what he's about, and what he's not willing to compromise. That kind of energy doesn't just influence people, it transforms environments. So if you've ever felt like you don't fit in because you won't play nice just to keep people happy, understand this, that's not a weakness. That's purpose, refusing to be silenced. Keep walking your truth. The right people will feel it. The wrong ones were never meant to stay. Number 2, they master self-containment. Ever met someone who feels like a one-man band and a solitary island all at once? That's the Sigma man mastering self-containment. He doesn't need a hype squad in the wings or a pep talk in the morning. His fuel tank runs on his own quiet fire. No external garbage required to get going. Picture him in his home office at 6 a.m., headphones on, crafting a plan for his next move. No motivational poster, no chatty coworker, just him, a notebook, and the hum of his own thoughts. He's locked into his process, the sweet spot where ideas flow and nothing distracts him. If the world outside vanishes, he's unfazed. He's too busy building. Most of us lean on a playlist, a group chat, or a caffeine convoy to keep us going, not him. His inner engine hums so loud it drowns out the need for outside validation. He checks in with himself, always. Is this idea solid? Am I pushing too hard or not enough? He adjusts his sails without waiting for someone else to shout, "Go!" That's self-containment. the muscle of relying on your own drive, no matter how long the road or how steep the hill. Now let's be clear, this isn't about shutting everyone out. Sigmas value connection, but it's not their lifeline. If a friend calls at midnight, they'll pick up, but they won't collapse if nobody calls at all. They relish solitude because it's where they recharge, reflect, and realign. They'd rather endure a stretch of loneliness than dilute their focus by pandering to group noise. This internal compass is a superpower. When deadlines hit or setbacks roll in, Sigmas don't crumble. They retreat into their own headspace, reframe the problem, and come out swinging again. It's a silent strength that others mistake for arrogance or aloofness, but really it's pure self-governance. So if you find yourself waiting for approval, try flipping the script. Spend a day tuning into your own drive. No notifications, no team huddles, no external pep rallies. You might discover that your most potent engine was inside you all along. Number 3, they can outlast the fake urgency. We live in a world that treats everything like a 5-alarm fire. Emails marked urgent that aren't. Messages that must be answered ASAP. People running around like their hair's on fire over stuff that barely matters a week later. But Sigma males, they don't flinch. They've developed a rare skill in today's world, the ability to spot fake urgency and ignore it completely. While others panic over imaginary deadlines, Sigmas sit back and scan the landscape. Not out of laziness, but because they've learned a powerful truth. Not all problems deserve your energy. Some emergencies are just noise. People projecting their own poor planning onto you. People who live in constant reaction mode. Sigmas don't live there. Instead, they ask, is this real? Does this matter in the big picture? Or is this just someone else's chaos trying to invade my calm? If it's real, if it's a fire worth walking through, they'll suit up and face it head on. But if it's smoke with no heat, they let it burn itself out. That's what sets them apart. They don't chase the tempo of the crowd, they move on their time. They can wait, observe, think, while everyone else is frantically moving just to feel productive. And when the dust settles, guess who's still standing, still focused, still ready? The Sigma, because he didn't waste himself on nonsense. This ability to outlast fake urgency is more than just patience. It's discipline. It's about knowing the difference between pressure and manipulation, between momentum and mindless movement. Sigmas don't jump just because someone yells go. They choose their battles, they conserve their energy, they make their moves when it actually counts. So next time the world screams at you to rush, pause and ask yourself, is this real or just loud? Don't let noise set your pace. Be still, be sharp, be strategic, just like a Sigma. Number 4, they find depth in places others avoid. Most people avoid the deep end. They skim the surface of conversations, dodge uncomfortable truths, and numb anything that feels too heavy, but not the Sigma male. He does the opposite. He dives in. Psychology, he's not scared of it. Strategy, he eats it for breakfast. Solitude, he welcomes it like an old friend. Even pain, emotional, mental, or situational, he doesn't run from it. He sits with it, studies it, learns from it, because he knows something most people don't. The gold is buried in the dark places, while others chase instant comfort and quick distractions. The Sigma seeks understanding. He wants to know why people do what they do, how systems work beneath the surface, and where the pressure points are, not to manipulate, but to move smarter. He's not interested in the shallow version of things. He wants the unfiltered truth, the hidden patterns, the stuff most people pretend isn't there. This is why Sigmas often seem intense, because they're willing to go to places others avoid. They'll stay up late questioning a decision that most people would have brushed off. They'll dissect the conversation days later, not to obsess, but to improve. They'll sit in silence after a tough loss, not to sulk, but to listen to themselves, their instincts, their inner compass. That ability to go deep is what gives them their edge. While others repeat the same surface mistakes, Sigmas evolve. They transform pain into perspective, solitude into strategy, reflection into resilience. They understand that darkness isn't always danger. Sometimes it's just the place light hasn't reached yet. So if you've ever felt like you're drawn to heavier topics, deeper thoughts, or uncomfortable truths, don't second guess it. That instinct to explore what others avoid, that's your advantage. That's the Sigma in you. And while most people run from the dark, you mine it. And that's where the real treasure is. Number 5, he doesn't care if the world thinks he's late. He doesn't care if the world thinks he's late, because he's not running their race. While everyone else is panicking over timelines, rushing to hit career goals by 30, marriage by 35, success by 40, the Sigma male is calm, steady, and unbothered. He's not moved by society's ticking clock. He moves with intention, not urgency. To him, rushing is how people end up stuck in lives they secretly hate. He'd rather wait and do it right than rush and regret. People love to judge what they don't understand. They see him as behind because he's not checking the usual boxes at the usual time. But what they don't see is the deliberate choice behind every move he makes. He's not lazy. He's strategic. He's not lost. He's waiting for the door that's actually his, not the one everyone else is blindly running through. And here's the twist. A lot of the doors people are racing to, they're traps. They look shiny, but they lead to dead ends. Jobs that drain you, relationships that cage you, success that steals your soul. The Sigma male sees through all that. That's why he walks slower, not because he's confused, but because he's avoiding the noise. He knows some doors are meant to be missed because the right ones don't show up until you're ready to handle them. That's what makes him dangerous in the best way. While others burn out chasing what looks good on paper, he's quietly building something real, something sustainable, something aligned. And when he finally walks through his door, it won't just be success, it'll be freedom. So if you're someone who doesn't feel on time, stop beating yourself up. You're not behind, you're different. And in a world obsessed with speed, moving with precision is your secret weapon. Let them race. You'll arrive with purpose, and that's what truly lasts. Number 6, he walks away from what everyone else fights for, and that alone makes people uncomfortable. Think about it. Most people spend their lives chasing approval, chasing attention, and chasing whatever the world tells them is success. They'll bend over backwards to be liked, get the fancy job title, or land a role that sounds impressive at parties. But the Sigma male, he sees through the show. He doesn't care for applause if the stage is fake. He knows deep down that not everything that glitters is gold, and some of the shiniest things are just distractions dressed up as goals. When a Sigma male walks away from a high-paying job or a big opportunity, people stare like he's crazy. They say he's throwing his future away. But what they don't realize is, to him, it wasn't his future. It was just a polished cage. If something lacks meaning, no amount of money or clout will make him stay. That's not laziness. That's courage. That's clarity. He's not impressed by popularity contests or the illusion of winning. He's not trying to be seen. He's trying to feel aligned. If it doesn't feed his purpose, it drains him, and he refuses to be drained by anything that doesn't matter in the long run. It might look like he's walking away from success, but really, he's walking towards something deeper, something that's built on truth, not trends, something that can't be bought or boosted with likes, titles, or status symbols. You see, the Sigma male knows something most people don't. Settling is more dangerous than starting over. And while the crowd might chase what's easy to explain, he chooses what's harder to live, because that's where the real reward is. So, if you've ever walked away from something that looked perfect on paper but felt wrong in your gut, you're not lost. You're not behind. You're just built different. And that difference is your power. Number 7, he thinks in patterns, not just moments, and that's exactly why most people don't understand him. While everyone else is caught up in what's happening right now, the Sigma male is quietly scanning the bigger picture. He sees cause and effect in everything. A casual decision, he already sees how it might spiral 6 months from now. A simple conversation, he's picking up on unspoken motives, future conflicts, and how it could shift dynamics later. It's not anxiety, it's foresight. And yes, it can feel like a burden, but it's also a superpower. Most people think he's just overthinking things. They roll their eyes when he asks deeper questions or points out flaws in a plan that looks fine on the surface. But what they don't see is how often he's right. He notices patterns that others miss, patterns in people, in choices, in habits, in systems. And because of that, he often knows what's coming long before it shows up. This isn't about being paranoid or controlling. It's about being wired to think beyond the surface. While others are reacting, he's calculating. While they're celebrating short-term wins, he's planning long-term stability. That's why he often avoids things that seem exciting to everyone else. Not because he's boring or afraid, but because he sees the cracks beneath the surface. He might not always explain what he sees. In fact, he often stays quiet while people rush into decisions. But he remembers, he watches, he prepares. And when things fall apart, he's the one who's already 3 moves ahead. If you're like this, if your brain just won't stop thinking long term, even when people don't get it, understand that it's not a flaw, it's rare awareness. It's the kind of thinking that builds legacies, not just lifestyles. Keep trusting your instincts, even when others don't see the vision yet. You're not overanalyzing, you're just on a deeper frequency. Number 8, they learn faster than they talk. Have you ever sat across someone who barely says a word, but when they finally speak, it hits you like a freight train? That's the Sigma at work. While everyone else is still swapping small talk or debating a single point, he's already 3 steps ahead, digesting, dissecting, and dialing in on what truly matters. Imagine your mind as a blank whiteboard, and every conversation, every article, every late-night YouTube dive is a spray of color. For most people, that spray smears, fades, or gets rinsed away by the next distraction. But for a Sigma, it sticks. He'll read an email, catch a snippet of gossip in the hallway, overhear a client's one-off complaint, and in the same breath he's plotting, how can I turn this into an opportunity? All the while he's silent, almost invisible. He's gathering raw material, layering it with context, and forging it into fuel. You've probably noticed it, meetings where he doesn't even look up from his notebook. And yet when the floor opens, he nails the solution in 1 sentence. No fluff, no backtracking, no awkward That precision, it's not luck. It's the payoff of silent work, hours of internal brainstorming, testing ideas in his head, discarding the weak ones, amplifying the strong ones. By the time he speaks, he's already mapped the terrain, built the bridge, and laid the cornerstone. Contrast that with the guy who dominates the mic, tossing out half-baked thoughts, then backpedals when someone pushes back. The Sigma sees that as noise. He's allergic to rambling. He'd rather keep his lips zipped and his mind grinding, learning faster than he ever talks. This superpower doesn't just make him efficient, it makes him magnetic. People lean in, wanting to catch that rare insight. They sense that he's not just spitting out opinions, he's offering distilled wisdom. And that whisper-quiet confidence, it's a neon sign flashing, I know where I'm going. So next time you catch yourself rushing to speak up, pause, absorb a little more, ask that extra question. Let your mind work in silence, because sometimes the smartest move is to learn faster than you talk. Number 9, he doesn't follow charisma, he follows clarity. And in today's world, that alone makes him stand out. Most people are drawn to charm like moths to a flame. A smooth talker walks in, says the right things, flashes a smile, and suddenly everyone's impressed. But not the Sigma male. He doesn't fall for polished words or magnetic energy. He listens past the tone and watches behind the scenes. He doesn't care how well someone performs in public. He wants to know what they're really about when no one's watching. To others, this can make him seem cold or detached, like he's not moved by emotion or connection, but in reality, it's the opposite. He just values truth more than temporary feelings. His mind is wired to filter noise and pick up on intent. You could be charming, loud, persuasive, but if your words don't match your actions, he's already checked out. He's not impressed by big promises or flashy personalities. He's looking for consistency, for purpose, for depth. That's why he can't fake relationships or play along in shallow circles. He won't pretend just to fit in. And he definitely won't trust someone just because they sound good. This level of discernment isn't arrogance, it's self-respect. It's a refusal to be led by empty hype. While others get caught up in the emotion of the moment, he's staying rooted in facts, values, and long-term thinking. And the truth is, that's what makes him dangerous in the best way. He can't be manipulated easily, he can't be bought with compliments, and he won't follow someone just because they have a spotlight. He follows direction, not decoration. So if you've ever felt like you're not swayed by loud voices or popular opinions, own that. It's not coldness, it's clarity. And in a world full of noise, that clarity is your edge. Number 10, he reinvents without seeking permission. And that alone makes people uncomfortable. Most people wait for the green light. They wait for approval, for timing to feel right, for someone to say, yeah, go ahead, you're allowed to change now. Not the Sigma male. He doesn't ask if it's okay to start over. He doesn't wait to be understood, accepted, or clapped for. When something in his life feels fake, hollow, or outdated, he burns it down without flinching and starts fresh. It could be a career he outgrew, a belief that no longer fits, a version of himself he's done pretending to be. He doesn't cling to what's familiar just because it's safe. If it's not real, it's not worth keeping. And when he knows it's time to shift, he doesn't announce it with drama. He just moves, quietly, boldly, like someone who knows the risk of staying stuck is greater than the risk of change. People watching from the outside usually don't get it. They think he's reckless, unstable, or lost. But here's the truth. He's not lost. He's just no longer willing to live a lie. This ability to reinvent, not just once, but again and again, is what gives him an edge. He doesn't fear letting go of the old to make space for what's true. And he never waits for someone else to validate the decision. He doesn't need a permission slip to evolve. This is why he doesn't crumble when life gets messy. He adapts. He rebuilds. He reshapes himself with zero interest in staying the same just to keep others comfortable. Because to the Sigma male, staying fake is worse than starting over. So if you've ever felt the urge to reset your life, even if it made no sense to anyone else, trust that. Reinvention doesn't need applause. It needs courage. And the ones brave enough to change without permission, they're the ones who become unstoppable. Number 11, he creates meaning instead of waiting for it. And that's what makes him rare. Most people wait for life to hand them direction. They wait for the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect moment to feel like they matter. But the Sigma male doesn't wait. He creates. If life gives him a blank page, he writes something on it. If life gives him chaos, he builds structure out of it. And if life gives him silence, he doesn't sit there hoping someone fills it. He writes his own damn song. He's not the type to sit around complaining that things aren't fair or clear. He knows life rarely makes sense at first. So instead of whining, he studies the mess, works with what he has, and turns it into something real. He doesn't need a map to get moving. He builds the road as he walks it. And because of that, he's not always easy to understand. People often look at him sideways, wondering why he's not doing what everyone else is doing, why he's so calm in the chaos, why he seems to be operating by some invisible code. But that's the thing, he is. His code just isn't made for the masses. It's made for something bigger. What most people don't realize is that he's not trying to fit in. He's trying to create something that's never existed, something meaningful, something lasting. And that requires tuning out the noise, stepping into the unknown, and having the guts to make sense of it all without waiting for approval. So if you've ever felt like the world doesn't quite get you, good. You're not here to be explained. You're here to build. Your job isn't to wait for life to hand you meaning. Your job is to make it. And that right there is the beginning of something powerful. In final words, here's the truth. You don't need everyone to see your potential for it to be real. You don't need applause, validation, or permission to rise. If you recognize these signs in yourself, the quiet hunger, the refusal to settle, the way you question everything and build in silence, it's not an accident. You were never wired for the ordinary. You were built for something more. Sigma males aren't chasing the spotlight. They become the spotlight by doing what others are too distracted, too afraid, or too attached to comfort to do. While the world is busy performing, you're busy becoming. You think differently. You see beneath the surface. You walk away from noise, even if it means walking alone. Because deep down you know the truth isn't found in crowds, it's found in clarity. And that clarity, that's your edge. People may doubt you. They may not understand your pace, your silence, your refusal to follow. But that's because they can't see the full picture, not yet. They don't know how much patience, discipline, and mental strength it takes to hold your vision while everything around you pulls in another direction. But you know, so keep building, keep questioning, keep holding that internal line when everyone else folds. Because when the moment comes, and it will, when your work finally speaks, when your purpose clicks into place, when your name echoes through rooms you haven't even entered yet, no one will be able to deny what you've known all along. You were never behind. You were just on a different frequency. You're not meant to be understood by everyone. You're meant to lead a life most people aren't ready to imagine. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. Stay the course. You're not just built for more, you're becoming it. And the world will catch up, eventually. Thank you for watching, gents, and God bless you.